Good morning, Nigeria. It's Monday, the 18th of August, 2025, and you are tuned in to Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. I am Samson Balogun.
And I'm Oluwayemi Adelapo. A new week begins, and as always, we are here to break down the stories, trends, and conversations that matter most to you and to the nation.
All right, let's run you through today's lineup. Daybreak GST kicks things off. A fast-paced dive into the stories that are making waves and stirring conversations nationwide.
At 7:10, it's Daybreak News, giving you the headlines that matter with a focus on clarity, accuracy, and balance. Then at 7:20, we move on to newspaper headlines and analysis, where we don't just read the news but connect the dot, explain the context, and show you how the stories affect you.
Yes, and at 8 a.m., we zoom into today's big story: elections without voters, how apathy and money politics are eroding Nigeria's democracy. And joining us is Dr. Kunle Okola, a respected political analyst and governance advocate. He will help us unpack what democracy looks like when citizens step back and money takes over.
And to wrap things up, Trend Watch brings you the pulse of the people, tracking the hottest topics and conversations on social media, from big cities to grassroots voices across the country.
All right, it's Monday, it's decisive, and this is Daybreak Live, where politics meets accountability.
That's very fair. Good morning, Zanzi.
Good morning to you. How are you doing today?
Let me hack this in PG. I hope so you don't see rain.
Well, I would have loved to say I didn't, but okay. Of course, you know I did.
All right.
Good to have you back.
Of course. I'm glad to be back here. Definitely.
Yeah. We'll be talking about, Emanson, the lady on the flight. I think Ibom here, who actually had an issue with the flight attendant. Yeah. Of course, she has come out to, tell her own side of the story. And basically, she said it wasn't her that actually, sued the federal government or the NCAA or even Ibom here about anything. So who's posting that?
When I saw the story, even before this one, where she came out to debunk that, I think I saw that story on some media outlets online, and I was shocked, when she came out to debunk. So I'm asking the question: how did we get here? I mean, the people peddling, that rumor, what do they stand to gain from this? Because I mean, anything can happen. She might not even decide to sue at the end of the day. I mean, if she's compensated with maybe an ambassador position or something like that. So it's her choice, regardless of the fact that she said she was assaulted on plane and the likes. I still feel like it's a choice to say I want to sue or I don't want to sue. And even recently, she came out to say that air hostess, assaulted and so much, removed her wig, damaged her phone. And then I'm actually happy about the fact that, more we are seeing evidence, coming out, apart from the ones we have seen. I mean, when the issue happened, very fresh, and we were talking about, what's going on at our airports. I just want to, employ, people in charge of this case, that they do the investigation properly, and of course, anyone who is found guilty, should, be punished accordingly.
She mentioned that while all that was going on, the reply the woman was giving her was children of nowadays.
She even said I don't want to mention some names, some unprintable names that she called her on air now, because I mean when I read the story, she said she was calling her names, didn't allow her to come down, when she allowed others, and the likes. I don't know. These people don't even know each other from anywhere, so I don't know how that beef, was that serious between both of them. So even there was nothing the other passengers could do. I mean, because she's an official, and of course it will allow her to carry out, her job. So I just feel it boils down to the fact that, she should be corrected on some certain things, and of course the air hostess too should be corrected on some certain things. They were both wrong at different levels.
Buttressing what you said, talking about being wrong on both sides. I think the air hostess should also look inward and see exactly what she did wrong to the lady, if there is any at all. Because according to the lady, when they actually landed, she rushed to the restroom to pee, and of course while coming back, the lady actually obstructed her, and when she realized that she was actually recording her, then the story changed entirely. And by the time she looked, about 4 or 5 people were on her, just her. I mean, how would you want to evict one person from, an airline, and then to be about 5, 6 people on one person? I mean, a lady, for example.
Honestly.
And she also talked about how much she has spent on hospital bills, how she was wounded while trying to avoid being harassed, and eventually it happened. I mean, these are things we should look at. To get a lady off the aircraft shouldn't be a problem. I mean, there are police officers. If she had seen a police officer, then she would have respected, the uniform, probably just walked and then followed them to wherever it is they were taking her. But then, why would you bring so many people just to take one person off the airline? I mean, for me, I think that is uncalled for, especially when it's a woman. The society actually favors them in one way. You respect them, regardless of what they have done. At least their dignity must be kept intact. So these are things we should be looking at. And I believe the NCAA, the airport authority, they are looking into this holistically. Whoever is at fault is not about printing names or probably, saying, oh, this person is at fault. This is about making corrections to prevent future occurrences, I think.
Okay, I think you're spot on. We are looking at this. We're not trying to justify unruly behaviors, definitely, because I feel like some things can trigger you, and there's a limit to what everyone can take. What I can take, you might not be able to take it. So I think from what an eyewitness said to the people, he said that she was actually frustrated at some point when they were on her, and then they were trying to stop her from actually coming down and the like. So I feel that could have been that could have been settled amicably, because if that air hostess, if she's not called, to maybe, I don't know, I don't want to use the word punished, because I still believe that investigations are going up, but I feel like the public should get to know how they resolve that matter, so that another air hostess or maybe will not do the same thing, because that's the issue we are facing. When someone decides to do anyhow and then they don't get punished, it gives them that courage to say, I will do it and nothing will happen. So we need to get to that point whereby we punish people that we are supposed to punish. And she even said that she feels maybe a shirt was torn, or maybe intentionally. We are not quite sure about that until maybe we see CCTV footage, so we can actually affirm that maybe that was done intentionally. At the end of the day, we can go past this.
It's not worth it. To say that, they were so quick to file, a case against her. There should have been some sort of investigation even before. And,
definitely,
the report was out there, and then the people already know, how many count charges is against her. She was remanded in, Kirikiri prison. These are things that shouldn't really have happened. Being detained should have been enough, but sending her to a prison.
When it didn't happen the first time that we had, that one was even very serious compared. No, maybe for Misha, we cannot really say.
There are two different things.
Definitely,
but then they are similar.
They are similar
as long as it involves an aircraft. But
definitely,
the truth of the matter is, I would say that of Kwanwan was even more serious than this, because
it
was actually obstructing the movement of the aircraft.
Yeah.
So, and in some countries, that can be termed to be, what I wouldn't want to mention. But in the real sense of it, I think when the justice system should not be biased. If it happens to one person, it should happen to the other person too.
Yeah.
But now, probably some people are saying, oh, the reason why our own case was dropped was because people would ask questions about when it happened in the first instance.
Nigerians are very good at that.
They will remind you.
I'm telling you, they are very good journalists. I love them online. They will come out to say, we can't take this. No, you
and
can't
bring evidences, receipts.
Definitely, they'll play you the videos, they'll give you pictures and the likes. People have receipts, and that's very good. So we are not trying to say, okay, we are not trying to stigmatize anyone, but we are just speaking to facts and issues right now. Because even the pilot decided to taxi, while he was still in front of them. Anything could have happened. It was just I don't know what to call it right now. That Sid Kwan and then the people that were standing with him on that day.
Just one moment of sharp reflex action.
Honestly, it was just between this and that, anything could have happened. So we need to stop that. So apart from the passengers too, that we need to be calm. If they tell you switch off your phone, please, it won't take you anything. If you you can.
She actually mentioned that she didn't know how to switch off these phones.
And Nigerians are saying, is that true?
Well, I think she was mentioning that someone actually helped her in switching off the first phone. Okay. And the second one, she was asking the lady, how do I switch this off? And then
that was what led to another issue.
And then eventually, I think a man sitting close to her actually helped her. If there was a man that actually did that, I think that man would not be shy to come out and say, look, I was the one. At least
that can help us in the issue.
It wasn't an empty aircraft. We would have people on that flight who are actually going to serve as eyewitnesses. But
are they willing to come out?
That's the problem. That's the problem.
That's another thing.
That's why this case for me, I think, is going nowhere, because eventually there are no witnesses. The only thing that people saw was what happened at the entrance of the aircraft, and that is, for me, will be one-sided. And if we can't get what happened in the aircraft, then automatically the story will be one-sided. But then,
and if this is not sorted, I just hope we don't have repetitions of this same case or this issue at the airport.
We do hope that the government does, the needful, and make sure that going forward, this kind of issue really do not happen. And if they do happen, it doesn't escalate to what we are now having. Because for me, I think the last 2 weeks is more or less the national disgrace.
Has been intense.
Honestly.
Do you know recently, a Canadian court, called the APC and PDP, terrorist organizations.
Wow. All right. Well, that's a story for another day.
Definitely.
But let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll take weather report on this. That we'll be back after this time out.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
On Dominion Television. It's time for weather report. Now we go straight to Lagos this morning, as temperature is expected to be fair and between 77 degrees Celsius in Lagos. And humidity is expected to be around 87%. And high or low around 75% degrees Celsius, and pressure is expected to be around 30.01 in. So humidity, of course, it's 7% Celsius. That's weather forecast for Lagos this morning, according to NIMET.
All right, let's cross over to Kaduna, North Kaduna, Nigeria, and then we're expecting about 71 degrees Celsius, and of course high and low 69 degrees Celsius. Humidity is around 98%, and pressure about 29.97, and of course visibility is about 7. Okay, you can take it up from there.
Okay, also going straight to Kano State this morning. In Kano, temperature is expected to be around 73 degrees Celsius, and of course humidity around 95%, and visibility to be around 6, and wind will be so fast around 5 meters per hour. Of course, dew point to be 71 degrees Celsius in Kano State this morning.
And of course, let's cross over to Yakasi, Kano, Nigeria, where you are seeing about 73 degrees Celsius, and of course humidity around 95%, pressure around 30.04. That's talking about Yakasi in Kano, Nigeria, and of course visibility is about 6.
And in the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory this morning, weather today in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory is expected to be around 72 degrees Celsius, partly cloudy. And of course, by night, it's expected to be around 69 degrees Celsius. And humidity, 93%. Wind will be around 3 mph. And of course, pressure is expected to be around 30.01. So if you are in Abuja this morning, it will be partly cloudy. But then there is a chance that by evening, there might be a little bit of drops right there.
Of course, let's cross over to Ose, Ondo, Nigeria. We have at about 22 degrees Celsius. And in the morning, it is expected to be around 25 degrees Celsius. In the afternoon, it might go up to around 29 degrees Celsius. In the evening, it might come down again to around 24 degrees Celsius. And of course, overnight is coming down again to around 22 degrees Celsius. And of course, humidity is around 98%, and pressure, of course, around 1015.2. That's it, speaking about Ondo, Nigeria.
Okay, we go straight to Rivers State this morning. In Port Harcourt, temperature is expected to be around 70 degrees Celsius. It is expected to be cloudy, and of course, by night, it is expected to drop to 67 degrees Celsius. And of course, humidity is expected to be around 95%, and the dew point to be 60 degrees Celsius. And later in the day, the weather is expected to drop. But of course, if you are in Port Harcourt this morning, keep your umbrella handy. You just might, there might just be rainfall.
All right, let's cross over to Enugu North, Enugu, Nigeria. We are seeing about 24 degrees Celsius, and of course, in the morning, we're still in the morning, you might move to around 26 degrees Celsius. In the afternoon, it's definitely going up to around 29 degrees Celsius, and in the evening, coming down again to around 25 degrees Celsius. And of course, humidity is expected around 92%, and of course, pressure, same thing, around 1014.9. And let's talk about the dew point, which is expected to be around 23 degrees, and of course the wind 8 kilometers per hour. That's it. Speaking of Enugu, Nigeria.
Of course, in Ibadan, Oyo State, as seen earlier this morning, temperature is expected to be around 22 degrees Celsius. Cloudy, of course, to be low. Wind will be light and variable. And of course, humidity is expected to be around 96%. Of course, we are in Ibadan, definitely, and the weather has been really wet this morning. Now, that will be all on Weather Report this morning. Let's go on a short break, and when we return, we'll take the news.
Ever dreamed of creating the next virus series or telling powerful stories on the big screen? This summer, your passion for TV can become a reality. Our TV Practical Summer Class is calling all future scriptwriters, producers, directors, video editors, reporters, news editors, and on-air personalities. Get hands-on training from industry professionals. Learn to shoot with professional cameras, master editing software, and produce your own content from start to finish. This isn't just a class. It's your launch pad. Don't just watch TV. Make it. Enroll now. Spaces are limited. Visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng or call the number 0706 777 9435 0706 777 9435. Dominion Television, your channel of choice. Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Good morning. This is the break news on Dominion Television. I am Uluwayemi Adelakum. President Bola Tinubu has approved the release of 16.7 billion naira for the immediate reconstruction of the Mokwa Bridge in United States, which was destroyed by flood in May this year. Minister for Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris announced this in Abakaliki after a meeting with the Minister of Works counterpart, Dr. Dave Umahi. Idris said the approval underscored the administration's responsiveness to urgent infrastructure needs. The federal government, through the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, has issued new guidelines on public-private partnerships, PPP, decentralizing approval powers to ministries, departments, and agencies. The guidelines provide directions and requirements to set up the project's approval board for the new approval thresholds of under 20 billion naira for ministries and 10 billion naira for agencies and parastatals, as approved by the president. He said the new guidelines will introduce to regulate the development and implementation of all PPP projects in Nigeria to accelerate attract private sector investment. Speaker of the House of Representatives Abbas Tajuddin has said that the outcome of Saturday's by-elections was a reflection of the unwavering support of the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) enjoys from the electorate across the country. The Speaker congratulated the party on the victory in Zaria Kawai State Constituency, Basawa State Constituency, and Chikun Kajur Federal Constituency. The APC won 12 of the 17 elective offices contested across the country, leading ABGA with 2 seats, while the PDP and NNPP won 1 seat each. The Lagos State government will begin the second phase of rehabilitation works on the Ogudu-Ifako Bridge and the Kosofe local government area. The General Manager of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, Olalekan Bakare Oki, has appealed to motorists to obey traffic rules and cooperate with officers during the period. The exercise, which focuses on the expansion joint of the bridge inbound Lagos Island, will run from Tuesday, August 19 to Wednesday, October 1st. Government through the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee has deducted a total of 256.5 billion naira from revenue allocations to fund gas infrastructure projects in the first half of 2025. This comes amidst the government's latest plan to review deductions and revenue retention practices. The deductions, which are made for the midstream and downstream gas infrastructure fund, fluctuated significantly month to month, suggesting both a rise in project execution surges. It also suggests procedural delays in the government initiative set up to invest in infrastructure projects that will improve transportation and processing midstream and utilization downstream of natural gas in Nigeria. And in sports, Wiki Tourists have announced the signing of 9 players ahead of the 2025-26 Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL) season. Experienced midfielder Nasiru Owalu joined from Kano Pillars. Other new additions are Philip Johnson, Oko United, Sonny Ibrahim, Inter Lagos, Luis Dadong, Kora United, Abdullahi Usman, Sporting Lagos, Idris Ashiru Dantata, Malika Kika, Kabiru Abdullahi, Lobby Stars, and Abba Osman and Nasarawa United. Abdullahi Mekaba's side will kick off their 2025-26 campaign with a clash against Plateau United. The match was staged at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Stadium in Bauchi on Friday, 22nd of August. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. That's the break news. I am Oluwayemi Adelakunze. Thank you for watching and good morning.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
right, I welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us. This is Newspaper Headlines Analysis. I am Oluwayemi Atelaku, and I'm not alone in the studio this morning. I have with me Temitope Shola, who is a historian and, of course, a public affairs analyst. Welcome on board.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, good morning. So we have quite a number of headlines. We had elections on Saturday across some states, in the country, and it was quite, intense, voter party, vote buying, and quite a number of things. Let's start from this headline from Vanguard that says, "Our APC swept by-elections, wins 12 seat, APGA 2, PDP 1, NNPP 1. Tinubu fit winners as opposition parties kick flawed by-election, dress rehearsal for 2027 polls. ADC, there may be no elections in 2027 if, we'll talk about that if, and then he's saying, another writer is saying, it's mockery of democracy. That's coming from Labour Party. Our by-elections win, endorsement of Tinubu. That's coming from the APC. Let's come from the first, or let me say the banner headline that says, our APC is swept by elections. You saw how the elections went. APC won most of the seats and the likes. And people are saying it's as if APC is still very strong, regardless of maybe the criticism about the party. And of course, they also mentioned the fact that the power of a governor, or let me say the popularity of the sitting governor, can also determine the result of the election. Let me give you some instances. In Kaduna, for instance, APC is the ruling governor, and of course APC won. Let's come to your state. A lot of persons said the candidate of the PDP was able to ride on the popularity of Seyi Makinde to win the election, regardless of the fact that, the Adelabu came out and the rest came out to support. I don't want to mention the rest, but that, the power of the sitting governor played a pivotal role. Let's even cross over to APGA in Anambra State. Yes, APGA is a very strong political party in the eastern part, but then the likes of Soludo came out to say that Labour Party is dead, even said ADC has no ground, that this should tell everyone that, APGA is a strong political party and they will definitely win elections. What do you make of all of this? Can you talk about them?
Yeah, thank you very much. Ordinarily, by-elections should be an election terrain that should allow you as a candidate to at least showcase yourself and make your name known to people, basically. And what do I mean by that? Unlike general elections where candidates can hide under individuals, that's by say, you hide under the governor to contest if you're in the House of Assembly, you hide under the presidential candidates of your party if you are contesting. By-elections ordinarily should be something where you are going for yourself, your name, basically. But I think this weekend showed that in a scenario like the setting we have in Nigeria, a by-election is basically for the ruling parties to have their way. And I mentioned it to someone that the candidate that won on the platform of the PDP, that's Afolajimi, he, as far as I was concerned, it was the governor that was running for that election, not him. It's just that there's someone that just has to sit in front and be pushed. And why do I say this? When you look at the whole campaign, the whole movement from the selection of candidates, basically there are even ripples within the party of people complaining that the governor anointed someone, that this wasn't the person that should have gone forth. Because let's put it into context also, Honorable Fola is the deputy chief of staff to the governor, and was just drafted in 9 minutes. Was never even in the race in 2023.
What do you think is about his experience? Because I read that he used to be part of the Oyo State constituency.
Yeah, it was in the House of Assembly.
Definitely.
Where he was told to step aside for Comforter.
So you don't see it as if it's because of his experience over time and not really about the governor trying to impose him on the people.
I think that regardless of whoever was dropped, the ticket, PDP was clearly going to win that election. Why?
Why?
APC is not popular in Oyo State, for instance.
But the person who used to, handle that seat was an APC person.
Yeah, that's why I said something earlier. That's why I said something earlier that during general elections, candidates hide under the front runner or the banner of the party. So, for instance, in 2023, that's the most recent election, many of the honorables that won, either at the state level, won as a result of the party leader, which is the governor. At the national level also, we had the same thing. Many people that entered because Tinubu became the president. And why is that clear? Or why is it easy to look at? When you look at the Oyo State, for example, because I would like to use Oyo State as a case study, when it was, the governor won won that's as far as PDP won Oyo State and won a good number. I think out of 33 seats in the State House of Assembly, they won about 28 or so of it. But when it was the presidential election, probably just a week before the governor emerged, APC, APC won the presidential election in Oyo State, of which out of, I think, about 16 Federal House of Reps seats, they took almost 12. And if you look at the way the voting pattern went, so as people are going out, because don't forget that when people go out to vote in the general election, they are voting for two-day elections. On the presidential election, you are voting for the presidential candidate and the House of Reps candidates. On the governorship election, you are voting for the governor and you are voting for your House of Reps.
So that was what played out.
So, and when you are giving your voter card, your voter slip,
okay, you
are giving the two. So you and also on the presidential, you are voting for the senator, for the Senate. So you see, you are given the three slips and you go out. So most times people just, because they don't want to make mistakes.
But in Temitope, we've seen cases whereby people, vote for someone as the president and they vote for another person when it comes to this.
Yes, that happens with people that are a bit more enlightened as to choice. So for instance, in the last election now, if you go to campuses, Peter Obi won all the campuses.
Okay.
But when it came down to the rep, people voted who they wanted. So even the election, the results showed in UI. When it comes to the presidential, you see that Labour Party won the presidential. But when it came down to House of Reps, Senate, the votes, that same number of people that voted massively up front for Labour reduced their votes and shared it across party lines. So some either went for PDP, some went for Labour, some went for APC. So that happened in enlightened environment.
Do you think we need election orientation again? Because I don't think we've done it in a long time.
So why I don't want to even complain about this election, especially this by-election, is because I've come to understand that politics is local.
Okay.
Very local. So as much as a candidate or maybe perception about maybe the president or anybody or the governor, at the end of the day, I feel politics is local because when people come out to vote, they really don't, especially in an election of this magnitude or in this style, people really pay little preference to who the president is and the likes, but more of who is this person that is closer to me at this level. All right. That I can support.
Please hold your thought. We need to go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Please stay with us. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, I welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us. This is Studio Newspaper Headlines Analysis on Dominion Television, Ibadan. And of course, I'm still speaking with Temitope Eshola, who is a historian and of course a public affairs analyst. And we were talking about this by-election. I see I have some burning questions that I'd love us to talk about. Yeah, do you think the internal wranglings within the APC, cost them this election? Because I'm aware that, there was no primary election and I saw, yes, an APC. And aside from that, it took a while before they came out, even with a candidate, when other political parties have already started, campaigning and the likes. Do you think, that cost them? Because even after that person was appointed to stand or to, contest, some other persons, aggrieved, persons were saying, this should be reversed. I mean, this is not the right person that should contest. Do you think that cost them the election?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can't, how do I put it? You can't go into an electoral contest and not have your full house in order. So when you compare it with what PDP did in Oyo State, there was unity on the PDP front. Every political appointee, every office holder, party-wise, divides, they all mobilized support for Don.
Okay.
And when you look at the APC front, I think there's this council of maybe unity or unified aspirants that had about maybe 5 or 6 aspirants within it. Every one of them have their strong blocks. For some persons, they wanted Simba to emerge because it seemed to be the more, should I call it, popular person amongst the base. It comes directly from the Ajimobi dynasty, basically. And people felt with someone like him on ground, he would be able to have the capacity to mobilize others on board into the system. So, but we found that hard this time around, and we're not able to get things done in that regard. So, based off that, I believe that APC in Oyo State could have done much more better if they were able to get themselves and their house in order properly. But the fact that they couldn't get that done, it meant that many other candidates had to just sit back. So those that lost out in the election did not show up in the polling units. Agents that they had paid money to appear at the polling units did not show up. Those that even had money for vote buying ate the money. So a lot of things played out in that election. And a group has even come out to, like a warning to the president that if this same pattern is chosen ahead of the next election for the governorship, that they are guaranteeing the president that they would lose the elections in Oyo State. So I think what APC needs on Oyo State on the home front is to find a candidate or a person that can harmonize and mobilize all warring factions in Oyo State. APC is a very big party in Oyo State. We can't discountenance that. They have strong men, but I think the problem is that these strong men have carved out niches of areas for themselves, so they are not united. So they need, and that's why they are missing the late Ajimobi, because he had that personality, that power to bring all persons under one control. But right now we have different masters, and that's what the problem is.
We hope they'll solve that out before the general elections. Let's go cross over to Salient Times, and I have quite a number of headlines. This one says, Northern Group apologizes to Jonathan over lies. Boko Haram sponsorship. I think around last week I read the story, where a certain group in the north, I think northeast to be precise, they are saying Jonathan should come back, and there's even a tag, bring back our Jonathan. It was very funny to me at some point, and they're saying they would love him to contest. Don't forget that these people staged protests that he should leave the office while he was there, even towards the 2015 elections. And then they also said things like he's sponsoring Boko Haram, they don't want him and the likes. And now they're apologizing to him. They're telling him to come back. What do you make of all of this? Because even people, as analysts, are saying they don't see Jonathan coming back. After all that happened, during that election. He's only been granting interviews here and there, speaking about some of the things that he encountered while he was still in office.
I think it's political theatrics that is just at play here. He has no business coming back. The best time he could have come back was to contest the second term with Buhari, against Buhari. That was the best time he could have shown up. But he stayed out the second term for Buhari, stayed out for the last election that ushered in Tinubu, and he's not coming back now. It's a dead agenda. For me, I think people are looking at it from a mindset of, okay, how can we divide the votes also in the South? And I feel all of these moves are just ways to ensure that the president retains seats. That's what I feel is going on. People just want the governor and the president to retain his seat, and that's why these distractions are coming in, basically. How will I put it? In the last election also, when Buhari was about rounding up, there were rumors that Jonathan was going to come in. But this is the same way they made the whole noise 4 years ago of a possible Jonathan's return to power. And it did not, it basically just fizzled out. So I feel what is going on is that there are different permutations going up. It is clear by this, at least, that the Northerners are a bit dissatisfied with the sitting government. And they are looking for a candidate that they can pour their resources behind in such a way that the person will not also bite them back. So now, the conversations about a one-term presidency from the coalition, Obi and the likes, is one of the reasons why I think the Jonathan conversation is popping up right now. And why is this popping up right now? Because a lot of people feel that the space of power for a term is so hard that people feel that you will not want to leave power alone. So they feel Jonathan coming in is a good way for them to just be guaranteed that nobody will play hanky-panky with them.
All right, Temitope, hold on your thoughts. We need to go on another short break, and when we come back, we still have more talking points. Please stay with us. All right, I welcome you back. It is still newspaper headlines analysis on Dominion Television. And of course, another analyst has joined us in the studio. I'm talking about Afolabi Afolabi, who's a public affairs analyst. Welcome on board.
Good morning, and good to see you again.
Of course, definitely. I'm glad to see. So before you joined us, we were talking about a certain headline on Salient Times that says Northern Group apologizes to Jonathan over lies and Boko Haram sponsorship. And then they are coming with the tag, bring back our Jonathan. After all they said about him, stage protest to say, leave the office, we don't want you anymore. And then people are saying that it appears Jonathan is the best shot for PDP, looking at what is going on within that party. Wike, who was eager to contest in 2023, is no longer eager. I don't know his mind, but looking at the permutations, I'm not sure he's going to contest. And they're saying it appears Jonathan, he has that clout, is the best shot for PDP.
Well, that is the politics in Nigeria. That is how we play it. That is how we see it. When we talk about politics in crisis, they go pari passu, because if you are a critical analyst, you understand that there are no crises without anybody fueling it. Like people will say, there is no fire without the smoke, without somebody lighting it down. You see, it's a gimmick to bring in to raise that kind of alarm, or put up such kind of propaganda that bring back Jonathan. And I want to advise former President Goodluck Jonathan to stay away from such kind of campaign, in order not to dent his own present integrity. This man has made name for himself. Even after leaving office, he has carved a kind of image that is globally accepted for himself. It's something that the Northerners want to use in order to, in order to have the South kind of support, or look at it as if they so much love the South, and that they want to, and in those days when we talk about Jonathan and the crisis that emulated during this time, and that is 2013, okay. we somehow said that this thing is not ordinary. And our First Lady, Mama Patient Jonathan, will always tell us that the blood you are sharing, there is God, and there is God, and that is what we are seeing right now. I want to advise past President Goodluck Jonathan to stay away. Let the people who are clamoring for it bring out a candidate from their end and also from their camp, to see if they can match up with the present President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The game is going to be very interesting.
Really, speaking of the election, I have an headline here that is talking about the election, and Okpebholo is saying 2027. This is on Daily Global. I'm treating Daily Global newspaper now. It's saying 2027 election is a walkover for Tinubu in Edo, and then even the governor of Niger State recently also came out to say that I'm supporting Tinubu. I can even be the campaign general and the likes. And these people are coming out to say it's a walkover. It's going to win. Let me turn to Temitope now. Looking at what ADC is trying to do now, we don't even know who is going to be the flag bearer of that party yet. And of course, it appears that governors on the APC, they are so confident about the fact that Tinubu is going to win the election, regardless of the ADC, regardless of the Labour Party, and of course the PDP.
I think what they are doing is basically just having conversations and speaking on the basis of how they feel. And why do I say how they feel is because it's just like when you pay a piper, they have to just go out and sing their tune.
Temitope, do you think it's because of how they feel? These governors are delivering their state. Look at the last election. Most of them delivered their state.
So why I want to counter that is, okay, there are 36 states in Nigeria today with the Federal Capital Territory, and 2 major parties heading into that election. As far as the terrain was in 2023. But by the time the elections results came out, we had a scenario whereby a candidate that didn't even have a single councillor on his side, or in his party basically, entered into the election and won 12 states, 11 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Were they not governors in those states? So when it comes down to 2027 election, I believe all of these are just the political theatrics. Everybody's just speaking to the media, playing to the gallery and the likes. The realities on ground are, by the time it comes to the general election, people are going to be voting basically how they feel about this government. It's going to be like a referendum against this government of the day. And why is that so? Don't forget earlier when I started, I said something about politics being local. That's why no matter how it appears at the top, when it comes down to the homegrown elections, you would rather vote, you vote more of the persons you can see within your neighborhood, because this is your guy, this is your blood, or this is your clique. But once it comes to the national is a bit distant. So you would want someone that can give you policies that would trickle down and sort out things. So you will see a lot of people by the next election, they will still vote more against the way they feel right now. And all of this governors making noise and the likes, for me, is a pointer that the presidency is feeling the heat somewhere. And what is their game plan? Is, okay, let's see how we can get the governors on our side to make the noise. But at the end of the day, when 2027 comes also, the governors themselves, a good number of them are going for second term. They are going to adjust. They are not going to just bulldoze their way into it. So many of the governors that you see making those comments are largely governors that don't have an election in 2027. Okpebholo just entered. So by 2027, he's not worried about going into an election in that same election year. Adeleke's election is probably later this year.
Next year.
Or next year.
Yeah.
So by 2027, he's not under pressure to do whatever he needs to do. And the election that is bringing him is the second term election. So actual governors that are also going to be contesting in that same election cycle, you won't see them opening their mouths out publicly to say.
But you don't see them. We don't see this way that endorsing the president can even give them that stronghold in their state, because that's the ruling government. It would have
been interesting if these personalities that are making the noise are people that people like. Okpebholo entered it as governor on very ridiculous circumstances.
Why would you say ridiculous?
Ridiculous. He didn't win that election. It is very clear.
But he won according to INEC.
According to the votes allotted to him.
Do you know that the case was taken to court and he still won?
See, in Nigeria today, the court is just an appendage of the political, of the governing class. There is no justice in Nigeria, especially for the poor man. So they just come there and allot votes and assign stuff and twist the laws. See, in Nigeria, why I say this is that it's so easy for them to say, oh, based on the law, based on we went to court, we did this. But I feel we're also knowledgeable enough to observe process, written documents, follow through, thinking. We have thinking faculties that helps us to sort out wrong from right. So it may not be in my favor, but at least I should still see that certain due processes are followed through at the point where you are right. So you can't just tell me because you're a judge, you say black is white, when everybody knows that white is white, and you want me to now sit down and accept it. So I believe going into this coming election, personalities like the governor of Edo State should not be considered serious. And why? Just to wrap that up, okay. Edo State, for example, has a tradition of supporting and voting APC. That's under the Oshiomhole and the likes. And also the last governor, trying to remember his name. Obaseki, that was under the PDP.
Obaseki did 2 terms.
Very rooted. But at the end of the day, when the elections came, the people voted who they wanted. In Rivers State, with all of the grandstanding of Wike, it is becoming clearer day by day that the Labour Party practically won the Rivers State. That he just had to use his influence and turn the vote around.
We are not quite sure about that.
Even many other persons have, he himself has said it. Even in the conversation they had after the election, the PDP governor, APC governors were saying that they are thanking him, that they are surprised how he was able to do it, that they didn't expect that would happen. It basically turned the vote around, unless if APC is rambling the judges and the governors in other states together to pull a Wike in 2027, but that would be very dangerous. Okay,
let me turn to Afolabi. It appears he has another thought or maybe a counter opinion.
That's good. That is the opinion. You see, in Nigeria today, things are changing, revolving every day. I want to tell you that, yes, like he has just said, that the politics is local. Yes, politics is local, and then everybody needs to have their way. Every state has their way of voting, and that is what I want you to understand. Every state, or your state, has a way of voting different from Osun State, different from Ogun State. Look at the last election. Last election spoke the voice of the people and a dysfunctional kind of party system. You know, where you have a party who couldn't agree before the election.
Because,
yes, that is the basic why the election goes in that manner. Okay. Is it when you go out there and interview the people, it don't actually mean that the person that won the heart of the people. It's just a way to speak their voice, to make it relevant. When you go to I was at the polling unit, I monitor the polling units, and I understand that a lot of people didn't come out. Those who came out are party members. And party members who came out are from the other side of the party, you know, and at the end of the day, it ended up in favor of the sitting party, and that is why I talk about you don't dysfunctional, you don't disunited, you don't break up in your party for any reason to see one person coming up, you know. That is a way. Go to Ogun State, you see the way it was done. Go to Imo State, you see the way it was done. When you go to Adamawa, you see the way it was done.
You think it was just party members that came out? He had about 18,000 votes.
Party members, actually.
My brother.
Only.
Largely,
a not less than 80% of party members came out. And you know
what happened to University of Ibadan? What happened to the Polytechnic Ibadan? Ibadan North House.
Yes. I know of Ibadan North 1 to 12 polling units, 1 to 12 ward. I know all the wards. I can tell you here where this ward is. But I tell you, the next election, which is 2027, is not going to be like this. People are suffering, and they will make their voice known. Okay. Yes, but the truth I'm still making up is that presently Nigeria is being governed by PDAPC.
Yeah.
So because
ADC is not in the picture. Let's talk about
governed currently.
Okay.
I'm talking about presently Nigeria is being governed by PDAPC.
Okay.
A party taken over by two parties taken over by one person.
Okay.
So everybody is trying to be to the line of that particular bidding in order to earn the eyes and the support of the president. And that is just it. When you win your domain, your political domain, it tells you who you are and how powerful you are in your state. If Seyi has lost this election, it will have diminished, it will have bring him down in his political strength. It will have told the world, the state, the federal, that Seyi is no longer relevant. And you must be politically relevant in order to dictate the tune. And that is what is going on. That is the gimmicks. You understand? And the person who break into the other party wants to show his strength, but couldn't do it because of inability to bring the people together.
Afolabi Bo in Kano.
Yeah.
NNPP won the election.
Yeah,
what happened to the governor?
It's an NNPP state.
Kano is an NNPP state. They see, to be politically relevant is to win your political domain.
So it's about popularity that wins the election.
It's about politically relevancies. It's not that the people actually came out. It's about political relevancies that matters here. Okay. In a state where you have an ADC trying to come out, and a PDP trying to come out, and an APC is an mafia, it's not going to work. You understand? If the APC person who is the governor lost out, it means that the person does not want to be politically relevant even in the MFAs there. He doesn't want to be, because it is a rule that go to your domain and win. So people will always tell you in Lagos. And that was why till today, whoever that becomes a politically appointed person don't have his own guards, doesn't have his own soldier. He owns the soldier. He will tell you, go there and make a statement. It's a statement. Go and win. Go and win. If you win even if it is your ward, imagine an aspirant losing out in his own ward.
Which is what happened on Saturday.
Okay, let's also talk about people are saying, Peter Obi is popular. He endorsed, some of those candidates, the EDC candidates, and yet they lost. So they are saying, how is he going to win 2027 election?
But you know
if his popularity cannot win, those elections.
Forget about that. The thing is that ADC's individual persons also want to be popular. So if you want to use the word, if it has been, as it is rumor that Obi appoint those guys. And in my own state, as an ADC member, I know that my own candidate couldn't get the ticket. Okay. And Obi candidate got the ticket and he won. then it's not going to work. So I'll make Obi relevant in my state that the person you presented lost. Okay. That is Nigerian politics. So we are waiting 2027. I want to believe that it will take a new turn, a new dimension. I'm waiting for who candidates ADC will be presenting. Okay,
let's look out for that. Whether it's going to be Atiku, whether it's going to be Obi, we are not quite sure. However, let me say big thanks to Afolabi Afolami for coming on board this morning. Of course, to Temitope Ishola. You know, it's a conversation that will definitely continue, you know, with time. Thank you for being a part of the session. This is where we see our BYA on this particular session. My name is Oluwayemi Atela. I'm saying good morning.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to the big story on Daybreak Live, the segment where we take a deep look at issues shaping Nigeria's democracy and governance. Today, we ask a critical question: elections without voters. How apathy and money politics are eroding Nigeria's democracy. Over the years, Nigeria has witnessed declining voter turnout despite rising political tension and heated campaigns. While politicians spend billions on election, ordinary citizens are increasingly staying away from the ballot box. What does this mean for our democracy? And who truly benefits when the people don't show up? I'm Samson Balogun. Thank you for tuning in. Joining us this morning, already with me in the studio, to unpack these concerns is Dr. Kunle Okunla, a political analyst and governance advocate. Together, we'll explore why Nigerians are losing faith in the electoral process, how money politics has taken center stage, and what can be done to restore confidence and participation in our democracy. As seen in the Ibadan North Federal Constituency by-election, even candidates complained bitterly about voter apathy. What could have caused it? Is it lack of publicity by INEC, the inability of the candidates to convince the voters to come out and vote, fear that their votes would not make a difference? We'll unpack all of these today on this show. From disenchantment of youth voters to unchecked influence of political spending, we'll connect the dots and ask the tough questions. Is Nigeria's democracy becoming a game of highest bidder? And how do we get citizens back to the heart of the process? Good morning once again. This show is The Big Story on Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. Dr. Kunle Okunla, good to have you in the studio.
Good morning, Nigerians.
There's a lot to talk about, and then I want us to scratch beyond the surface this morning.
Yeah.
The Ibadan North by-election, is that the pointer towards which the next election will be centered? I mean, with the current number of people in Nigeria, citizens, Nigeria is projected to be around 250 million people.
Yeah.
When you look at the last election that brought in the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the total vote of all the top three candidates was less than 30 million.
Yeah.
But then, in Ibadan North, about 22,000 people were expected to come out. But then, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
You know, it's high time the government of Nigeria began to critically look into this issue. We're having presently political apathy. You know, 276,000 people were accredited for the election of the Ibadan North, and we have only 26,000 participated. And I can tell you that the 26,000 that participated are all party members.
Card-carrying members of the party.
Card-carrying members of the party. You know, in political science, political apathy is a lack of interest or apathy towards politics. And this includes voters' apathy, information apathy, and lack of interest in election and political activities and events. Voters' apathy refers to lack of interest in participation in election by certain group of voters. You know, and one of the side effects of voters' apathy can be low turnout on election day. That is, if the voting is non-compulsory, like we have in Nigeria, and in countries or areas where the votings are compulsory, voter apathy may manifest itself in the form of high proportion of spoiled ballots or donkey votes. You know, and there are two possible causes of voters' apathy: alienation, and this refers to the sense that voters feel like the political system does not work for them, and any attempt to influence it will be a fruitless exercise. You know, one of the persons that was supposed to vote in Ibadan North was asked, you know, why, you know, he did not go out to vote. And he said, yours is to vote. Politicians are to enjoy. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. And he said, it's not those who vote that count, you know, but those who count the vote. So why should I go and waste my time, you know? And this is a reflection of what is happening overall in Nigeria. You know, democratic rule in Nigeria has been for the past 26 years. And 18 of those 26 years, we have witnessed decline in voters' participation, you know, in Nigeria. I did a lot of statistics, you know, and I want our viewers to see this so that we really know the problem at hand regarding voters' apathy. In 1999, when democracy started, you could see the enthusiasm that people, you know, had. They went out. We have 52.26%, you know, of people that went to vote. And in 2003, it rose to 69.08%. However, the enthusiasm quickly went down due to electoral fraud and poor governance. and turnout dropped to 57.49% in 2007. And in 2011, it drops to 53.68. In 2015, 43.65 and 34.75% in 2019. The lowest turnout yet ever recorded was in 2023, when, according to INEC, only 26% of registered voters participated.
Turned up for vote.
And this is the, this is a troubling record, and is the election that brought the president 26%.
Just about 26%.
Now, you could see the decline. My fear is that a time may come that, we're going to have general election in this nation, all right, and there won't be anybody apart from party members queuing up, because people are getting tired. People are not enthusiastic about going
selecting
to vote
again
now. Because like somebody said, what we have in Nigeria presently is not really election, it is selection. So once you have selected whoever you want to be there, why do I need to go and waste my time? 16 by-elections took place on Saturday. APC took 12 of them, or APGA 2, then PDP 1. And in all these states, people voted for the sitting governor. It's so obvious in Oyo State that people didn't go out to vote for party. They went out to vote for Governor Seyi Makinde, because in fairness to him, he's a performing governor.
Some said whoever was contesting against Folaji Balogun was contesting against the governor. Is that true?
I think so. People went ahead, that Saturday to vote. The little people went to vote for the governor.
There were insinuations that even within the APC, there was a crisis, and they had to vote for the opposing candidate.
There's been a serious crisis within the APC since the former governor, Ajimobi, died. There hasn't been a formidable replacement for him. And so, for APC to win any election in Oyo State, you have to bring somebody who is well-respected, accepted, and formidable to match the record of Seyi Makinde. And the sitting governor has all the money and the influence, and so that's the reflection of what happened. But the result of those by-election does not reflect the mind of the people. It's not those that one should not over-rejoice and think that that's how it's going to be 2027. It's not a reflection of the mind of people. People are tired. People did not go out. If 276,000 people registered and only 26,000 went out, in some other nations, they're going to cancel the election because it's way, way too low, all right? But Nigeria, we went out, so they should not over-rejoice. And my advice is that, if they want people, the newly elected people, if you want people to vote for them in the next general election, then they should go out and perform so that people can, have more faith, because people have lost faith in the election process.
Dr. Kunle, let's quickly digress a little bit.
Yes.
The problem started when ballot box snatching started in Nigeria. Then we graduated to ballot stuffing. They don't snatch. They just stuff it with thumb-printed vote. And now it is vote buying. This is a process that is gradually developing to a national disaster. How do we end this before it becomes a problem?
When you have an electoral process that is based on money, the more money you have, the more influence you have, and the more votes you can buy. Because when you buy the people, you buy their votes. And with the level of poverty in Nigeria, even ordinary 10,000 can make people to change their mind and vote for whoever is giving them money.
You see ordinary 10,000. Yes. People sell their vote for less in a country like Nigeria.
That's somebody who has not. I was when I moved around and I saw the level of participation that was on Saturday, and I saw thugs and louds around. I was like, with the present level of poverty in Nigeria, will anybody still want to risk his life for politicians? But it's happening. Somebody who has not, who's not sure of a day meal, and you give him just 5,000 naira, it will work for you. All right? And that's what I believe in what somebody said, that the politicians, deliberately, perpetually are keeping Nigerians, at this poverty level, so that when they want to use us, they can easily manipulate us. A hungry man is an angry man. An hungry man can do anything. If you have a family, your children, your wife have not eaten, you can do anything to feed them. And so it's a deliberate act to keep us, to keep the people in perpetual poverty. All right. But you can only push people to a level. When you push them against the wall, there'll be resistance. I hope we don't get to that level. And that's why I believe that the federal government of Nigeria, the state governments and local government must do something. People are tired. This level of political, voters' apathy is too high.
Some claim that Nigerian politicians are more interested in buying influence than winning ads these days. Is that true?
The point is that, like I said, the more money you have, the more influence you have. And the more people you are able to buy to your side. And if you buy people to your side, you have bought their votes also. Even the primary selections, of flag bearers of parties in Nigeria, a lot of money move around. If you don't have enough money to buy those political chieftains of your state or local government, you are not going to be a flag bearer of the party.
A case study is that of the APC in the Ibadan North local government. They said they all paid 10 million naira each for the ticket, for the form, not the ticket. Eventually, there was no primary election. They claim that a candidate has been chosen by the political party on a consensus basis. But in the long run, some are still claiming, no, you are not our candidate. And notable candidates that actually contested for that ticket include Repete, who is also there, Olusegun Olaleye Radika, there are Farouk Adesekola, one of them, and a host of others. There are about 7 or 8. Eventually, the ticket was given to Murphy. And some are claiming that it is because he's one of the cronies of the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu. But then, Adebayo Adelabu's influence was tested. Is that so? In the by-election.
At the end of the day, what happened? He lost. One of the
is that a pointer to what he should expect in the next election?
In the next election, APC, especially in Oyo State, they have to do a lot of homework. The truth is that even some party members, because of the alienation, the candidate was alienated from the poll. Some of them went ahead to vote for PDP. Some APC member, went ahead to vote for PDP, because it's not election that took place. The primaries is selection, and it should be when you know that when a party knows that you want to select, a person that you believe is the most popular, then there is no need for asking prospective candidates, to buy form. 10 million naira is not a small amount of money, and until we dissociate ourselves from money politics in Nigeria, this is the kind of result we're still going to be getting. Is it somebody who has not fed his family, a meal in a day, that he wants to go and put down 10 million naira, for something that is not, you are not even assured, sure that you are going to be selected. It's all selection, it's not election. And that is what is making people to be wary of, wasting their time, wasting in quotes, of going to queue, all right? But, all these things are dealing blows on our, fragile democracy in Nigeria. Democracy should be the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But what I see happening is, in Nigeria, is the government of the politicians, by the politicians, for the politicians, to oppress the people, all right? And people are getting weary of that, all right? And so our political class must do something of a necessity about it.
And then there was an insinuation that the governor deliberately tilted the scale towards Honorable Folajimi done in the last election. And that's a part of the things we are talking about as regards how the people lost interest in voting generally. He named a particular estate in Ibadan after the late Honorable Akeremi Jagaban, who passed away, who was actually occupying that seat just days before the election. Also distributed rice to people of Ibadan North just before the election. And people are saying the governor didn't give them that rice just because he loved the people of Ibadan North. It was a pointer that we are looking forward to you voting for our political party. Should the governor have actually done that during that period?
In Nigeria, politicians do whatever they can do in order to get, people's vote. The governor, politicians are like, I don't want to make that analogy on here. When politicians are coming to you, and it's like they are offering something to you, it's because they want to get something bigger from you. That's the way it is. The PDP flag bearer, was the anointed candidate of the party and of the governor. So the governor must do everything to make sure that he is successful. And the success in that by-election is by and large a success, of the governor as the first PDP member of the state is a success to the governor. And so he has to do what he must do so that they can win the election. And they have won the election.
Does low turnout in any way affect the legitimacy of elected candidates?
It should. I tell you that in some other state, I'm talking of nations now, that election will have been cancelled. 176,000 registered, only 26. It's not even 50%. It's not even 40%. It should be around the 27 or 28%. That is way too low. But INEC has declared him winner. It is legitimate in Nigeria. All right. And the president has gone ahead to congratulate all the winners. The next thing you're going to see is the swearing in of these people in the House of Rep. So it shouldn't have validated the election of these people because the turnout was too low. But in Nigeria, because INEC has announced them as winners, it is validated.
Okay, now if that is the case, the current situation now is that Nigerians have lost hope in the electoral system. How do we revive that? How do we bring people on board to become active participants in the Nigerian electoral system again? Because as it stands, if we continue to do this, it means the figure will continue to go down as in contrast to what happened in 1999 to what has happened in the year 2023, going forward to 2027. If something is not done, what are the areas we should be looking at? Are we looking to reform INEC as an electoral body? Are we looking to give the people more orientation and probably pass more information across to them? Or are we looking to make sure that politicians don't get to buy their way into offices?
There are a lot of things that must be done. One of such is this political godfatherism in Nigeria. As long as we have that you cannot imagine a candidate if you don't have a godfather. If you are not an anointed person by Godfather, we cannot have free and fair election in this nation. That is number one. Number two, the government must restore public confidence in electoral processes by dealing with electoral frauds. It is very, very important because many Nigerians are tired. They know that it is not the voters that count. It is the people who count the votes. So why do I need to go and waste my time?
And that points a finger to INEC as a body.
It points a finger to INEC. I mean, you cannot prevent what you permit. INEC chairman is chosen by the sitting president. That on its own is wrong. It should be a neutral body. There should be a neutral body, that select whoever is going to be the INEC chairman. But if I'm the president and I select you to be the INEC chairman, naturally, you're going to favor me.
Are you saying an individual body can't be corrupted too in Nigeria?
An individual body can be corrupted, but that will be minimal compared to, to the president electing the INEC president. It's never done anywhere, So there should be a reform of the INEC, INEC as a body. There should be a reform. Then the government must sensitize communities to political participation. Is very important. A constitution must be reviewed, especially the aspect that has to do with the rules of, election. Then our electoral processes, the registration, accreditation, collection of voters' cards and voting is cumbersome, and rigid against the global best practices. While other communities are engaged in mail-in and online election, Nigerians are still compelled to line up under the sun and the rain. This has to be reviewed. Then the judiciary also has failed to serve as the last hope of the common man in the face of electoral fraud. In many cases, the courts have overstepped their bounds, pronouncing winners instead of ordering a rerun of election. That also. Then the politicians perpetuate bad governance and exploit poverty. This also has to be looked into. So these are the various areas that the government must look to ahead of the 2027 election, so that we're not going to have, a turnout that is even worse than 2023 that we're talking about now. Okay, in 2023 was just 26% of the overall registered voters that turned out. All right, maybe we're going to have 10. Because as things are going now, it might indicate that people will not be willing. The enthusiasm is not there. When you tell people, do you have your voters card? What do I want to do with it? There's some people that have voters card because, they want to get shares during election, because you have to use voters card.
They need it in the bank.
Or they need it in the bank, and things like that. So the whole process has to be reformed. And what the government needs to do is to help people to have confidence in the electoral process, because presently most Nigerians do not have confidence.
Now, still talking about how to restore confidence in the electoral system in Nigeria. There are about 5 parties that play actively in the Nigerian electoral system.
Yeah.
That is the electoral body, INEC, as a body, or state electoral commissions like OCEC and the likes. Also, we have to talk about the security operatives. Yeah. We'll talk about the active playing politicians. Yeah. We'll talk about the people. Yeah. And after that, we'll talk about roles of stakeholders, bodies who actually more or less like who practice activism to make sure that Nigerians are liberated. And these are the bodies that have stayed quiet for far too long. Yeah. The police, are they playing their part? When we talk about the electoral system, these are things I want you to talk about this morning. And of course, INEC as a body, is it time that the INEC as a body is it too cumbersome that it has to be unbundled somehow?
All the aspects that you have mentioned, the INEC, the people, the politicians, each of them has their own fault. They have their own role, and they have not played their role effectively. Let's talk about the police and other security infrastructures. It's common in Nigeria that the police of a state most of the time favors the sitting governor of a state and invariably his party. And this should not be, because security operatives in Nigeria should be non-participants. But here you have a lot of money flowing around. We're playing money politics in Nigeria, and whosoever plays the pipers dictate the tune. So police especially should be more impartial when it comes to electoral processes. Stay clear. All right, and
and be neutral.
That would take a lot. That would take a lot for the Oyo State, the Ibadan North, I think about 75,000 police were drafted. That is massive. That is enough. All right, but yes, you still see a lot of electoral frauds going on because people just look the other side. I'm talking of security operatives. Then number two, people also be wary of politicians using you. I was shocked to still see thugs and louds on Saturday. In fact, I was shocked. My opinion was that nobody will present themselves to be used by politicians again. These people have their own families, well catered for. Some of them have their children abroad, they're doing fine, and they're distributing machetes and their cutlass to you. Be wary of that. Let's have elections that are void of thuggery, and violence. Don't buy stuff ballot papers for people. At the end of the day, they don't look at you again, like that person said that I mentioned the other time. They say yours is to vote, the politicians are to enjoy. After they have given you 5,000, 10,000, they move on
to the next person, to the next until the next
election. They are not needed again. So be wary of that. Be wary of that. There are people that for a Congo of rice or two, they sell their votes. That's not reasonable. Is that what you are going to eat for the next 4 years? Because when the people, once you vote for them, they don't care again. And our politicians also should have the interest of the people at heart. I see a lot of greed. People see politics as a means of making money. All right. I was doing my PhD in England when the people of my constituency in London, they put me forward, to be voted for as a councillor in that area. People look at your performance. They look at your, what you are doing. It's the people that will push you forward. But here we have, politicians imposing themselves on the people.
I was about to ask you this question, that
yes.
If for any reason we feel we can still have free and fair elections, and of course right candidates at the corridor of power, how do we get to do this when it is still the politicians that select who becomes the party flag bearer of the political party?
Like an international body that I was reading about yesterday said the only close to free and fair election that we had in Nigeria was in 1993. That was the MKO and
Hope 93.
Hope 93. Since then we've not had a fair and fair election, and I won't say it is impossible because there is nothing actually that is impossible. But it's difficult to have a free and fair election in Nigeria with all these money and influence that is everywhere. Look at most of the elections that we have in Nigeria, state elections. How is it possible that in the House of Assembly of a state, almost all the members are from the ruling party? Look at our Senate, for instance. It's actually becoming a one-party system. There is no strong opposition.
Even politicians, senators from the opposition party are moving en masse into the APC.
Because
are they being bullied to join, or they are being convinced to join them?
It's not conviction; it's greed. They're thinking about the prospect of their future, and they know that when they remain in the party that brought them in, there's no future for them. There's no prospect. That's why they're imagining, they're moving to another party, and they're being promised
return tickets
and things like that. And this should not be. I just hope that we're not going to move to a one-party system in Nigeria with the rate at which oppositions are joining the ruling party. And that would be very, very bad for democracy in Nigeria.
There was a mantra that echoed loud in the political landscape in Nigeria in the year 2023, and it's still there, the Boko Sebe. It means vote and cook. I mean, make stew at home. I mean, that is a mantra that has been there. Are the people gradually being impoverished deliberately? Is poverty being weaponized to make sure that Nigerians only look for food and not what to become?
I have said that yes, it's like a deliberate thing by the government, by the politicians, to impoverish the people, because they know that when you are poor, to a level that you can't afford a meal, then you easily could be manipulated. Easily could. There was a protest after the NSAS protest. There was another protest that took place, and I think I was at Abuja then. I saw it clearly when those guys marched to the government house. The police came out. They didn't come out with weapons. They came out with packs of biscuits, water, and as they are giving to, you see protestants, running to get water and biscuits. That was how the protest ended. All right? So it's become a weapon in the hand of the politicians that just give them something, they will keep quiet. And it's happening. It's happening. When you are hungry, the only thing you need is food. And once you are given food, whatever it's motivating you to protest or to want to react, it's secondary now. But the primary thing is food. So it's been a weapon. It's a deliberate thing, all right, that the politicians are doing to keep the people poor. And it's going to increase as we move towards 2027. Look at the hardship that people went through, in the hand of Emefiele during the 2023 election, that even to get 5,000 naira from bank is a problem.
People have to queue.
You have to
get their own money.
You get, it doesn't matter how many millions you have in the bank, you can't get more than 10,000. There was the time I needed money, all right, I used 5,600 naira to collect 10,000 naira from POS. So when they said, give me 10,000, they give me 4,400 because the charges was 5,600. It was that bad. And there was no reason for that other than they just want to make the people, that poor. Because we are still using the naira that this man said we cannot use. We are still using that narrative today. So there was no reason for that other than that the politicians use it as a weapon. Because they know that without money, you can't really do anything. But how many people lost their lives because of that? There was a woman, that died in front of a bank at Akpata. All right, she was in labor, and the man needed money, and so they had to queue, and they left the wife inside the car.
Were hell bent on getting
cash, and the woman died there. That's one out of so many other things, so many people that lost their life just because you want your favorite to win election. So our politicians are heartless. Most of them,
before we
are
go,
heartless.
Dr. Kunle Okola, some say politics in Nigeria is expensive. Do you think there should be cap on how much political parties sell their forms for election? How much is spent on campaigns to make sure that even people who don't have so much can actually be contest for elections and also win?
That's another deliberate act by the politicians to keep away ordinary people. All right, it doesn't matter how intelligent or how good you are, to keep you away. For presidential primaries, for APC at that time, it's 100 million naira. If I have 100 million naira, I'm not going to put it on, primaries that I'm not sure.
To get a form.
To get a form.
Not to talk of how much you will spend on delegates.
On delegates.
So they can vote for you.
And at the end of the day, they just 100 million just lost like that for so many people. It's a deliberate act. I just told you what happened in England. I didn't have to put in anything. It's my community that went to get the form for me that this guy is performing. We've seen him, let's say, And it's a small, I think it was 10 or 15 pounds, you know, to get the form, all right? And they push you, it's your community that pushes you. But here, you know, just primaries of a local government, whatever, is 25 million, 30 million. How many ordinary people can afford that? It's within their sect also. And that is the way they want to keep Nigeria, politics on. From 1960, that was the time I sat down and I look at the set of people that have been ruling us. It's the same set of people. Father left, put the wife there. Wife left, put the son there, put the cousin there, put the in-law there. They are there till today. You know, in House of Rep, you know, I was just looking. It was 2-3 days ago. A man was naming those that are in the House of Rep, Nigeria, and you know, normal usual names kept coming up. The son of El-Rufai is there. The daughter of former Senate President from Otukpo, what's the name from Benue State? David Mark was there, and all of them like that. They just want to replicate
that transferring power.
That transferring power, and they are not giving chance, you know, to a common person.
Nigerians.
It doesn't matter how intelligent, how viable you are, and this has got to come to a stop, all right? And like I said at that time, you can only push the people to a certain limit. When you push them to the wall, there's going to be a reaction, all right? And it has happened in so many nations. It was believed that the head of government in Egypt was a god, you know. But when revolution happened, they dealt with him, all right? So our government must understand that, and that's why in some quarters there are agitations, you know, for the men in uniform to come to power. I was listening to radio this morning. Somebody said that, you know, when the military were in power, do you have this high level of inflation? Do you have this high level of insecurity? And he started mentioning things that were not there. You know, democracy is supposed to be far better than military rule. But we are not having that in Nigeria.
We have to go. Our time is fast spent on this show. But we'll say a very big thank you to you for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much.
We do hope that next time we'll call you to discuss you know, more pressing topics. You'll be here.
By the grace of God. Thank you.
All right. That was the big story for today. Elections without voters. Apathy and money politics continue to cast a long shadow over Nigeria's democratic journey. But the future isn't written yet, as Dr. Okunlo Okunlola reminded us. Rebuilding trust, enforcing accountability, and inspiring citizens' participation remain the key to safeguarding our democracy. Stay with us. Trend Watch is next, where we bring you the conversations Nigerians are having across country and social media. Samson Balogun is my name. Thank you for tuning in.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB event today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still The Break Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Do well to link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dominion Broadcast. Drop your comment, and of course, we'll take them on this show. All right, I still have with me in the studio this morning, Yemi Adilaku, with whom we'll be making sense of trends on social media.
I'm glad to be back.
Good to see you again. Okay, Apostle Johnson Suleiman is in the news and says, said a lot of things about the chairman of Dangote Group of Companies, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, saying, you are not the only rich man on earth. Your restlessness in managing your, recklessness, or somehow managing your business has caused harm to families and made many parents childless. Your truck is just, killed 3 persons a few minutes ago in Nauchi. You give trucks to little boys who are high on something and untrained. This won't go unchallenged. I mean, we spoke about this, I think that was on Friday, saying, look, you have to make sure that these drivers are trained, they have licenses, and moreover, they have the experience. And then are they in the right frame of mind to actually be on Nigerian roads? You can't just keep risking people's lives all in the name of making money. But then I mentioned that it's not limited to Aliko Dangote Group alone. Yeah. There are so many other untrained drivers out there. Some even go as far as giving, their vehicles to their motorboys to drive, even when they know that these boys are not capable of doing it.
I think it's a very sad issue. We spoke about Fina's sister who is not going to, I'm not sure she can walk with her legs, any longer. And then 3 persons were killed just recently in front of the church. I'm talking about, Apostle Johnson Suleiman. So it's a sad one, that these things, keep coming up. And he also mentioned that, he knows quite a number of persons that have died due to these, truck drivers. So if we keep having this issue, let me also link it to what, Daniel Rega said. Yeah. He said, why is it that, the top politicians are not, talking about this issue? Because when we talked about the issue of Rai and NYC, when she was not given a certificate, they all came out to talk.
They were quick to actually comment on it.
The likes
even
of
Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar,
Showore, all of them, they all came out to talk. So why is it that they are not, talking
about this? Nobody's talking.
It's not, maybe because of, relationship or maybe, business, issues. We don't know. But then if these people are not talking, if it's just about the celebrities online that are coming out to talk, are we supposed to expect, or see more changes in this area? Let these people also weigh in on the matter so that we can have, changes. Because, people cannot keep dying. Someone even said, if you see a Dangote truck, just run away. So that just run away. It's not funny, honestly, because it's very sad when people are dying. 3 persons just die. Their families are definitely going to be in a very bad state now. So ensure, I think maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a body that can be established that will look into people who are given the keys to drive. If you are on a call, you are not allowed to drive. If you are not experienced, you are not allowed. If people can require 10 years experience, 5 years experience before they give you a job,
a white collar job,
a 9 to 5.
How much more?
How much more something that has to do with the life of someone? It's a sad one. I just hope that with these that establishment can look into this matter critically. If you are not experienced, don't drive. If you are drunk, don't drive. Think about the lives of the people. If establishments like these big ones can do this and go scot-free, I mean, an average Nigerian would also think that, okay, I can go scot-free. And of course, call two or 3 persons. So it's a very sad one. We look forward to a system whereby, this, will reduce drastically, and let the politicians also come out to talk about this. Let's forget about, okay, we have relationship or business, relationship. Come and talk about this issue so we can have the same way, people rallied around Rai, the same way people rallied around Kwam 1, the same way people rallied around Kwam 2. Let them also come.
It's actually not,
yes,
it's a pressing issue that really needs to be solved.
Yes.
When you look at what we currently have in the country, you realize the fact that justice is actually selective. They only choose to prosecute who they want to prosecute, and of course, this should not happen. I think the justice system should, be for everyone. And also, I don't think a new body should be, established just for this. We have the FRSC, we have the Vehicle Inspection Officers.
I'm not talking about
general body,
the establishment. Dangote, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's actually possible, and they should be the ones to say, look, this driver is fit to drive, this driver is not fit to drive. I mean, what's the procedure? I mean, what are the requisites of getting a job as a truck driver at Dangote Group? This and more should be checked, because risking lives on a daily basis is not going to, cause it for average Nigerian. And also, I think there was a time that companies were actually encouraged to use the train to transport their goods from one part of the country to the other. And now we have cargo trains, doing the rounds across the country. And I don't think we should have so much trucks on our roads when we have trains that can actually do the job. So some trucks should actually do local businesses within. So instead of doing interstate, we can actually go by train, send your goods through the train, and then it will reduce the risks we see on our roads on a daily basis.
Definitely. And another thing I would like to mention, this morning you were talking about, national disgrace. Look at the issues we are seeing around our airports. Look at the issue I just mentioned this morning about the fact that a Canadian court, referred to PDP and APC as terrorist groups. Now look at the issues we are seeing concerning Dangote trucks, killing people, all of these things.
Nobody is saying anything.
Doesn't portray us well in the global space. And then people will travel from here to all other countries, and they will face, issues. Why? Because of the dent, this little dent that we are not taking note of can become bigger if care is not taken.
I actually think we should shun selective commentary. You should comment on everything that you think affects, average day-to-day Nigerians, instead of just issues that you feel will get at the presidency, get at the House of Reps, get at the Senate. No, it should be things that affect Nigerians. That is where we should comment and make our voice heard, so that lives and properties can be intact and kept safe. I think that will be it on the show this morning. We simply have to go. Our time is fast spent. We'll say a very big thank you to everyone that has been a part of the show so far. You can link up with us on all socials: Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, on X, formerly Twitter at DominionCast. Watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng. You can also do that. Watch us live on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to that channel at Dominion Broadcast. Thank you for joining us so far this morning. We simply have to go. Samson Balogun is my name. I say stay calm, stay cool, and of course, stay safe out there. Bye for now.
All right, thank you for being the part of the show. Do well to join us tomorrow, same time, and of course, we promise to bring you more interesting stories to talk about. Before I leave, I would love to tell you that be human in every way you can. My name is Oluwayemi Adelapo. I'm saying good morning.